All right, ladies and gentlemen, wanted to get back on here and give a little update of, I think, where LSU is at with this whole Kiffin situation and just kind of lay out everything I've heard from listening to all the live streams, being on Tiger Droppings, Tiger Bait, all the forums. It's been absolutely insane since we got the news Monday when some of the Kiffin family flew into BR to look at schools, look at houses, whatever part of the tour they did. Just been an insane week. There's three fan bases involved, and the smoke to all three. Well, obviously he's at Ole Miss, but smoke to Florida and LSU just got really real. And just kind of the backtrack, like something I said on my TikTok Monday, like this really does have shades from the Florida side. This is like shades of Lincoln Riley to LSU in 2021 because all you've been hearing for the last like month is that it's a done deal. Sunday after the game, get ready. And you just really never heard LSU, which I think is interesting because on LSU's side, and I think even like the common LSU fan would tell you this, like Kiffin always was presumed like the number one target, but you didn't hear anything in the media. I think probably because we assumed that all this stuff would maybe be playing out in January during the playoffs. We never really thought that the supposed ultimatum or potentially a decision could happen before the Egg Bowl. I think at this point, whatever happens is going to come out before the Egg Bowl for sure. But obviously, we get the news Monday that the Kiffins fly into Baton Rouge. Varying reports on who it was at the time. In the beginning, it was like Kiffin's there, Fox is there. I think now, from what I heard, it was Layla Kiffin, who's his ex-wife, but I think they're like back together. At least that's how it looks. And then Chris Kiffin's wife, who he's Lane Kiffin's little brother. He's a analyst at Ole Miss right now. It was his wife and his little kid also were there, also looking at schools and things like that. And the day before, it came out that on Sunday they were also in Gainesville, and I believe Kiffin's son Knox was there on Sunday, and he met with a high school coach, which is where his mom used to go to school. I've seen Florida fans use this as like, oh, it's obviously more serious. I just think it was because it was on a Sunday. He has like a playoff game this Friday. I don't think he's going to miss a day of practice for all of this, and obviously can't come Saturday because all the games going on. So I wouldn't read too much into that. So that was obviously the big hoopla Tuesday. I think a lot of people on the LSU side are like, holy crap, this might get done quickly to LSU. It's like the old saying in recruiting, you always want to be the last visit. I think that's how a lot of fans on our side presumed it with LSU getting in on Monday as opposed to Sunday. Obviously, nothing happened. And then Tuesday, woke up, seemed like maybe Florida was back in the lead just because it seemed like momentum had shifted. And then it got announced that Kiffin was going on McAfee in the morning. And when I saw that, I was like, this is over. He's about to hop on here and announce he's coming back to Ole Miss. And it's going to be this whole big thing. It's going to be this crazy moment. They're going to have so much momentum, like online. It's going to be a huge boost going through their bye week. I thought for sure that was the only reason for getting the announcement out. And I mean, I was really shitting my pants. Like, damn it. Like, it was fun for one day. We were in this, but yeah, he's going to end up staying. So then I obviously watched McAfee watching. He comes on a little later than expected, and then it's a pre-recorded interview. They're talking. He's like, "All right, and here was our interview with Lane Kiffin," and it cuts the screen and moves to something else. It was obviously pre-recorded earlier. It was obvious McAfee wasn't allowed to ask him directly about the job. He just barely alluded to it. The only thing he brought up directly was this whole ultimatum thing, which had come out essentially saying that Ole Miss wanted an answer by Lane Kiffin in like the next week, or else they're not going to let him coach the Egg Bowl or the playoffs or anything like that because they want to kickstart their coaching process. And it's presumed the reason that is one, besides like obviously you can't have this going on going into a playoff push. But secondly, it's rumored, and I had heard this a couple of weeks ago, that if Kiffin was to leave, that they really want to be in on John Summerall, and he's kind of the lead dog for Auburn. So McAfee asked him flat out about this ultimatum. He says, no, that's not true. Okay, so these coaches lie all the time. It kind of felt like doing a little damage control there, maybe. He kind of danced around the whole thing in the interview. It was just weird because obviously the question everyone wants to know is, are you coming back next year? And the fact that McAfee's not asking it, it makes me feel like this was drawn up by Jimmy Sexton and the PR boys, maybe to save a little face, but I don't really think it did. And coming out of that, a lot of Ole Miss fans are pissed, rightfully so. I would be furious if I was in their situation. The rumors just keep swirling and swirling and swirling all day Tuesday. And then wake up today, Tiger Dropping's still running rampant. And I just got done listening to Scarborough's live stream and reading on Tiger Bait. It seemed like what he was hearing at the beginning of the day was LSU maybe kind of lost the momentum. And a lot of people on Florida side and people at Ole Miss administration felt like Florida was heavily in the lead. and it felt like it might be a done deal there. And then he said, for whatever reason, it seemed to flip on its head this afternoon, and it seems like LSU's in control. And he's also said the entire time since Monday when this all started that LSU's side has been completely confident the entire time. Now, some of the rumors that are coming out, and I've heard this from Scarborough, Preston Guy, Ruffino, other people, is that LSU has opened the war chest with their offer to Kiffin, not necessarily just making him the highest paid college football coach ever. I think that's a given. Whether he goes to LSU, Florida, Ole Miss, he's going to get that massive deal. It sounds like what's more important to him is the NIL guarantees that go along with it. And they're all reporting that LSU has awoken some boosters that are pissed off with the Brian Kelly era, the state of the program, the fact that not only did Brian Kelly not talk to them, but his on-field results sucked, and he was just a big asshole that nobody liked. And they're reporting that LSU's got a mega offer for guaranteed NIL year over year, bigger than what we spent in the portal last year, which would have us on par with Ohio State, and I guess if Texas Tech keeps this up, which I presume they will, right there with them. So that's great to hear. And it'd be one of those things if we did get Kiffin. I mean, you're going to have no problem raising funds from the big time boosters, the fans. I mean, if the fans were willing to do it last year, myself included, for Brian Kelly for this all in push, I mean, for Lane Kiffin, yeah, he's going to get my broke $100. So you got a lot of people on LSU side saying they're feeling confident. You got a lot of people on Florida side still feeling that they're confident, although I think it's wavered a little bit since LSU got involved. And one thing I'll say is this, outside of Layla Kiffin, Kiffin's ex-wife's connection to Florida, I really don't see one reason why he would favor that job over LSU. Any way you break it down, recruiting in the state of Louisiana is better than Florida when you think about, one, Gainesville's in North Florida. There's a ton of talent all over Florida, but a majority of that high-end talent is Central and South Florida. They're also splitting it with FSU, Miami, not to mention like every other school that comes and tries to raid the state of Florida. Not to say that it doesn't happen in Louisiana, like obviously with guys like Blade Bradford, but a vast majority of top players in the state of Louisiana commit to LSU pretty much despite the circumstances. It's been interesting to see how we've had one decommitment since Brian Kelly got fired. Like a lot of these dudes are locked in. I mean, they're obviously waiting to see who the next coach is, but unless it's something that doesn't excite anyone, I expect a large majority of this class to stay with the NIL agreements in place. But you look at tradition in the last 20 years, I mean, LSU knocks Florida out of the water there. From what it sounds like, at worst, you could say the resources are equal at both. So I've heard from people that LSU's NIL guarantees, at least as of yesterday, were bigger than what Florida's offering. Now, that's not to say that they're not going to turn around and match it. Like money wise, they're going to come pretty equal. I think on the salary, they'll all match whatever it ends up being. I think on the NIL, Florida and LSU will be about the same, and then Ole Miss will be to the point I would imagine where it's close enough to where he's just going to have to go with his heart and whatever he thinks is best for winning a championship. At this point, I have a hard time believing he's going to go back to Ole Miss, despite what he tweets and what he's saying in all these interviews. He was on the LSU or not the SEC teleconference that they do every Wednesday. He got asked like 8, 9 times about the job situation and his family flying to all these different places, and he's just flat out denying it every time. Kind of the beginning of the week, I kind of felt like, hey, we could potentially be getting played in all this. I feel like his max leverage, him and Jimmy Sexton, got leaked that his family was in Baton Rouge and had been in Gainesville. Like, the frenzy that created, if you would have came out at the McAfee interview and be like, hey, Pat, I'm staying. We're going to do this thing. We're going to build this and win a national championship this year. I mean, it would have been insane. I don't understand, how much more leverage he gets from waiting. It's starting to get a little messy for him at this point. I mean, the Ole Miss fans are furious. Supporters are furious. I've been starting to follow all of them just to keep up with what they're saying on their side. And they're pissed, and rightfully so. You got Kawan Lacey, who's their star running back. He retweeted something that was, congrats to you, Kawan, but it's a shame. Kiffin is going to ruin this season. And then on TikTok, he reposted some like soapy edit that made it seem like this is the end of Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. I can't imagine how the players are feeling in the locker room over there. I mean, I hate Ole Miss, but it's hard not to feel bad for them. They're kind of getting shafted in this situation. And I just have a hard time believing with the amount of time that this has gone on that he's going to stay there. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And then, one other thing that's been rumored, I don't know how true this is. Glenn Gullibo, or however you say his name, mentioned Nick Saban is kind of involved in this and that he's maybe steering Lane Kiffin to LSU. That would be very, very interesting. I could see it. I mean, he loves Louisiana. LSU fans have seen that speech he gave when he got inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame this past year. he has a lot of love for the place. He's good friends with Verge Osbury. Verge said they talk every week or two. So if you got Saban pushing Kiffin to LSU, that's something. There's just so many different layers. It's unreal. Hopefully by the time you see this, nothing has broke. Or honestly, maybe I hope it has, because my screen time has been insane this week. I am literally going from Tiger Droppings, Tiger Bait, Twitter over and over and over. But that's kind of what's out there now. That's been the timeline. That's what's being floated. If you have to ask me, I have no idea. My gut says LSU is going to get them by Friday at 5, but we could be sitting here literally next Tuesday doing the same charade every day. So sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. But it's a crazy time to be an LSU, Florida, Ole Miss fan.